Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Stone Ape Problems. So, on today's episode, I wanted to go ahead and talk about, the most popular form of government for the past couple centuries now, and that is good old democracy. As you can already guess from the title of this video, it will not be praising democracy, but at the same time, I don't want to come off as some sort of champion of authoritarianism, autocratic governments, things of that nature, because that obviously doesn't work. There's a reason we drifted away from that sort of government quite a while ago, and it was basically destroyed after World War One. You had the Hohenzollerns, Habsburgs, and Romanovs. Those three dynasties were wiped out. For power, the Romanovs were killed in a basement, but I digress. So the reason I wanted to talk about this is because a lot of the flaws, I believe, of democracy are coming to the surface, especially recently. Because democracy, democracy, which is Greek, demos means people, and krasi means authority, obviously gives power, a lot of power in general, and sway and influence and direction of how things are going to go to the masses, to the common people. That it allows, the whole point of it is to make sure that not one person has all the influence, not one group of people or a party. That's why there's checks and balances in place here in the United States and in the Constitution. But the formation of democracy, which was created against tyranny, which was perpetrated a long time ago in Athens and in Greece in general. And tyrants were basically kings. They're all the money. They're the biggest ruling family. And democracy was kind of like a pushback against it from the people. When you had the hoplite movement, where peasants weren't really needing to rely on the cavalry of their landlords in order to protect themselves anymore. So there's a whole dynamic that comes into play that leads to democracies. And obviously it was made famous and it was refined and created into not really what it is now, but made popular by Athens, by the city of Athens. But the environment and the people in Athens were completely different from the people we have nowadays. First of all, Athens is obviously a whole lot smaller. It was one city. But during those times, they were drawn by lot. Like every year, someone will be elected leader, a male citizen, just a male citizen, will be elected leader. And they will rule for a year. And, everyone got a vote. Everyone had a say in the assemblies and things of that nature. But even not to sound like a date, but even the quality of the people that were elected, the quality of people that participated in these assemblies, the people that participated in the conversations and the rhetoric and all that other stuff that was going on, they were really involved. And they took a lot of pride in knowing the goings and the ins and outs and the goings abouts of the government, of the commerce, the economy, and things of that nature. People were really in that. They took great pride in that sort of stuff. That's why it really did work for quite some time, and obviously it morphed and it evolved, and it wasn't always like that forever. But even in Athens, when you have people like Pericles, the first man of Athens, as they call him, that during his heyday, Athens really reached the peak of its greatness until he fucked it all up in the Peloponnesian War. Well, he didn't live to see the whole thing, but whatever. It's meant to conduct against tyrannies, right? And the reason I say and the reason I'm really broaching upon the quality thing is because nowadays most people are stupid as shit. Most people are ignorant. Most people don't, the everyday person doesn't really put a lot of time and effort and cognitive ability and energy in order to figure out what's going on in this country, which is obviously a lot more difficult than what I'm trying than what I'm saying, obviously. But most people, but you could tell that, we're really dumb out here. And common sense is the most misleading term around. There is no such thing as common sense. Like, one thing that I've learned is that you never underestimate someone's stupidity. Like, you think, oh, no one's that stupid. Yes, there is someone that's stupid. And that's, unfortunately, an honest observation of the environment that we live in now, or the world that we live in now. And with that in play, with the masses holding the power, most people don't know who the fuck they're voting for anymore. Their elected representatives, all they have to do is lie and make false promises, and people, oh yeah, they say they're gonna do this and this and this. It happens all the fucking time, people. It happens all the time. They say the same shit. We're gonna cut the taxes of the rich, and we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do that, and they keep regurgitating the same crap. They don't do it, and yet people gobble it up anyways. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying everybody, because there's people that are really into that shit and try to figure out what's going on, and people try to make a career out of that, international relations, political science, and so on and so forth, because they're trying to hold influence and they're trying to hold power, and you definitely gotta know what the fuck is going on. But democracy is taking a real hit, man. It's looking real ugly, because you don't even know what the fuck people are going for anymore. You know, I saw an interview where people were voting for George Bush because he believed in God. Can you believe that's what people voted him for? Like, there's some people that voted him for just for that, because he believed in God, or believed in that same person's God, and that's all the pedigree and requirements necessary in that individual's mind in order to get that person's vote for it. Democracy really does rely on intelligence and competence of the people in order to make it work, in order to make sure these checks and balances are in place. Unfortunately, that's asking too much of people now. You know, a lot of people don't want to be embedded in that. Well, not embedded, but like, people don't want to waste their energy and time on that, because, you know, who are they? Fuck it, I just want, you know, let bygones be bygones. I just want to live my life, blah, 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 blah. And a lot of people hold that sort of attitude, which is what's allowed this terrible situation in the United States to take hold of. Because a lot of these states are looking like a whole lot of authoritarian communist regimes out here, like Chicago and New York and LA. Why do you think people are leaving in droves from those places? And then people say, oh, the Democrats gave up on class. They don't give a fuck about class. We can have that conversation for another time, but stop believing what these fucking people say. But the democracy is the foundation of democracy is us, the common person. We have to be interested. We have to really put ourselves and put energy into really making sure that we know what we're doing. We know what we're voting for. We know what's going on. And how many times do people pass bills and we don't even know what bill? We don't know what bill. When did they cast these votes? When was this bill ever presented? And things of that nature. When? No one knows. Most people don't know. So it's not even a fucking democracy anymore. It's allowed to become an oligarchy, which is what I call Rome. Roman Republic, my ass. It was only the patricians that held power. People with a lot of money and a lot of prestige and a lot of pedigree, that they came from high noble families, and the more names you had behind your fucking thing, the more prestigious you were. It was an oligarchy. This is what's nowadays. People still believe this is the democracy. I don't think the United States is a democracy anymore. People are gonna get voted in no matter what. No matter, even if all of us voted for one person, somehow there's gonna be some legal fucking loophole. You know, because that's just how it is. And like I said, man, the foundation is crumbling for democracy. Like I said, I'm not a monarchist. I don't believe in monarchies, because that's obviously the other extreme. And monarchies work when the head of state is competent. When the head of state knows what that individual, I'm going to say he or she, whatever, it doesn't matter. He or she knows what they're doing. They got political savvy. They're geniuses. They know that you have to have a lot of avenues checked, a lot of boxes checked off in order to be able to hold that amount of power and not fuck it up. Because states in that sort of government is limited by the sovereign. If their sovereign has some mental issues, or is a fucking moron, that country is going to suffer during that time, during that tenure of that individual as head of state. It's cool. There's a fucking shitstorm of examples of that. Like, I'm not trying to say that's the way to go. You know, unfortunately, all forms of government are always going to be limited by us as humans, because we humans are limited and we're imperfect. But, you know, it's just atrocious to me, because we have so much information at the palm of our hands, on our phones, on our laptops and stuff like that. Like, we should be becoming more and more intelligent, because there is no excuse to not understand or not know what's going on. To not really take some fucking time, instead of scrolling through TikTok the whole fucking goddamn day, or Instagram or Facebook or whatever. Fucking watch something that's actually educational, that's gonna help you. You know what I'm saying? The same people that spend the whole fucking time partying and doing dumb shit and on TikTok and doing TikToks and doing reels and doing this and doing that, are the same people that complain about how the things are going and this is all a lie, and of us don't count, and blah, 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 blah. But you're not doing anything about it. If anything, you're exasperating the issue that we find ourselves in. Because this is the authority of the people. But if the people are a bunch of idiots or rambling all over the place, there is no power. It's just going to become an oligarchy. Because the smart ones know what I'm fucking telling you. It doesn't take a whole lot to tell. It doesn't even take a genius to know what's going on. And then it takes even less of a genius to figure out, like, oh, you know what? And they just feed horse shit to these people because they're going to believe it anyways. It happens all the time. It's frustrating. And I don't see it getting any better. Not to be a pessimist, but I'm just making an observation of the world around me. We spend a little bit too much time on things that are not so fucking important. You know, getting drunk and stuff like that. That fuck with your head and fuck with your brain and fuck with your mind, and don't allow you to think straight and see straight and be really 100% cognizant of your surroundings and cognizant of your own decisions and the decisions of your elected representatives. It's our fault. It's the people's fault. It's not the people in the head of state. They're just taking advantage of the situation. You know, just like anybody else. I don't fault them for it. I'm not an apologist for a lot of the atrocity for, like, basically the Iraq war. I believe, in my opinion, everybody that fucking voted for the Iraq war, including Joe Biden, should be in prison. Because so that's not going to happen. But they're just taking advantage of the situation that's at hand. They're taking advantage of the fact that it's not that difficult. It really isn't. It's really our fault for allowing this sort of shit to happen. It's our fault to see democracy crumbling away and dissolving. It's not a democracy. And like democracy into a tyranny, into an oligarchy. And that's what I see as the United States style. You know, it's a whole bunch of a group of people that just hold all the power. And they just make us believe that our votes really do count when they don't at all. So, you know, I just wanted to talk about it real quick. Because democracy really is great. But it does rely on us. Like I said, it's a checks and balances to make sure no one holds ultimate power. It's a pushback against monarchies and the repression that comes in turn with being under a monarchy. The repression, the subservience, and the fact that there's no freedom of speech or freedom of press in a monarchy. It doesn't work that way. In autocratic governments, it doesn't work that way. That's why we have democracies. And it's a good thing, you know, when under democracies, public opinion and the public sphere and the enlightenment and all that shit, all those great things were allowed to really come into, really allowed to develop and become what it is now that we honestly take full advantage and don't even give it any credit. You know, it's like, not credit, but like, it's become unimportant. You know, people don't realize how important that era was. People really trying to become more intelligent, more competent, more aware of what's going on. But we're too busy on social media and having our thumbs up our asses. And like I said, it's really our fault for allowing the things that have been going on for quite some time now here in the United States, and possibly going on in other countries, for sure, going on in other countries. We're humans, but obviously I can only speak about the country in which I reside. But it is our fault. No one to blame but us. You know, we have votes. We have the power to do something, but we're glued to other priorities. So just wanted to talk about that real quick. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. You know, I do appreciate all the help. I appreciate all the positivity for these videos and stuff like that. So, till next time, guys. Peace.